Robotech.
Yeah, Tech War.
That's right, Tech War. Ryan,
Yeah. I heard you
Are
cheer
we
when I
good?
disappeared.
what
What?
what did Xanax say?
Oh, Sanic said that. Just said the chapter of the thing. We already did that.
Oh, okay.
I wonder
What?
the
We already did it.
thunderstorm. The thunderstorm.
Oh,
is
we already
messing with
talked
us.
about it?
That's what Ryan said.
No, Ryan, you cut out when you were talking about that.
Oh well, no,
Yeah.
I kept talking, and I could hear you guys.
We can
Oh,
hear
yeah.
you.
We couldn't hear you. We heard, the last thing we heard you say was Sanic says, and then it stopped.
Oh, that it's chapter 3 of Claw, in which Scylla is mentioned by name.
Oh.
Okay.
You, the hero who will destroy the black worm that devours the sun, you for whom the sky parts as a curtain, for whose breath shall wither vast Erebus, Abaya, and Scylla who wallow beneath the wave. You that equally live in the shell of the smallest seed in the farthest forest, the seed that hath rolled into the dark where no man sees.
Severian.
Okay, hold on. So wait, I'm trying to get this straight in my head. So the Scylla that is put into mainframe at the time of the building of the world is big as an Undyne.
No, no, no. I mean, I can say all this stuff because it's Short Sun stuff, but I'm just gonna say it anyway.
Yeah, please do.
But so or Typhon's daughter is named like Cylinia,
Yeah.
and that's
Which
the
means salty.
consciousness who is put into mainframe and becomes Scylla, but she assumes the name Scylla because in New Sun world, on Earth, Cylinia already hates her dad and already has made an alliance with Big Scylla, Big Water Scylla, against Typhon. And so this all rolls into how Scylla works in the world.
Okay.
Because it's like made this like unholy alliance against.
So the real Scylla, like the OG Scylla, is on Earth. And this is like
That's right.
part of messing with Typhon is getting all the way up into the world, getting claws in the world. Ooh,
That's right.
damn. I can't wait to read
And
Short
that
Sun
whole
again.
thing boils into Short Sun too. I thought you read Short Sun.
I did, but it's been so long ago
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
that, and
I still think Short Sun's the best one.
I'm rereading it now because I just finished it, so I just figure I might as well just go right back in because the way it's written is so insane.
Yeah.
I feel like I was like trying to speed as soon as I was done Long Sun. I was like, I love Long Sun so much, and I was trying to like, I gotta go and read all of Short Sun now, and that I was kind of like jarred by how it wasn't Long Sun, and I was like, oh, I miss Silk, and then I kind of didn't do the best job of reading Short Sun at the time.
Yeah, when I began reading it, it was so difficult to shift gears, and I really had a hard time with it. And then by the end of it, that was exactly what I loved about it. Like the thing that was causing that was what was amazing.
Well, it has a purpose.
I feel like the last
Which I
couple
think
chapters.
is also the overarching theme of the whole solar cycle is its exploration of identity. Like that is why
Right.
these books are amazing.
Yeah.
And it like
identity and used identity.
Right, exactly. Like the idea that maybe identity doesn't exist. It's where these books are Gnostic. They're Gnostic. Sorry to you Catholics out there, Gene Wolfe was a Gnostic. These are Gnostic books. If you love them, you're a Gnostic. Down with the demiurge. Yaldabaoth dies.
How would you describe the difference between short sun and long sun?
It's, I mean, it's
Chaos.
It's not even worth describing it because of the first page you read of Short Sun, you will discover this immediately.
Sanic says
They're just written in a completely different way.
By
Sanic says-
different,
The narration is like completely
the
different.
person who is writing is different.
Right.
okay, so Sanic says, I thought it was a return
Sort
to
of.
form with how the story is delivered. I guess, return to New Sun form. And Johan
I
says,
don't agree with that.
I liked Horn immediately because he was just doing and saying shocking things right away.
Horn is so fucking annoying. I don't understand anyone who likes Horn.
He's a menace to society. I'll say it right here.
I can't stand.
Well, that's kind of a return to form in that, like, the narrator's insufferable and annoying.
I don't like any of them, so I
mean,
don't,
I wouldn't call Silk not insufferable.
Oh,
I
Johan
mean,
says,
Different vibe.
Having read the whole solar cycle, I would I would understand why you would choose Silk as the one you would like of the three. But
Yeah,
it doesn't make him like that good.
he's
Yeah.
the most
It's a
innocent,
pretty
but
low
that's
bar.
kind of
If you're
annoying.
better than Severian and you're better than Horn, it doesn't make you necessarily very good.
right, but you can't pick on Silk. He's autistic.
You can't pick on the Silk that's in this book because he's not real. And
Right.
when we talk about Horn in the next book, there's a lot of in a lot of ways we're also talking about the actual Silk. So if that Horn sucks, Silk sucks too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that, because that, I think, isn't that part of what Gene Wolfe is saying, is that, like, the version that of the person that becomes the story that inspires other people has its own reality, and the person that tells a story can suck and the story cannot suck, and the story can do good things.
I think that's one of the things that he's saying. I also think that in part he's saying if you think this person sucks, in some ways, that means you suck.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a basic. You hate what you hate in others what you can't abide in yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't pay attention to things that you don't identify with in other people.
Well, there's also a degree of, like, if you're looking at this person and there's something they're doing that you don't like, and then you just start thinking about how you don't like it, and you think about that person and how they start doing this thing that you don't like, and why do they do that, and what it is you don't like about it. Now the thing that sucks about them, the thing that you think sucks, is living inside of you. It's taken up residence in your skull, and it's a part of who you are, because you spend time thinking about how that person sucks. So everything about them that sucks is part of your identity now, asshole.
And it's funny because we just had, like, I feel like 4 years of training people to do that anytime something stressful happens, and now we're seeing, like, how really, really how really a lot of people have taken to that habit. And how there's, like, so there's a problem. Who did it on purpose? Who is it? I bet I know who it is. I bet who did this problem to us.
Full disclosure, this group trash talks a lot. We love to talk about who sucks and why.
Sure.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
People did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
only
lot of fun.
natural.
Whenever a group of cool like trash talking people who are not quite as cool as them.
People who are cooler.
Well, all
Who are-
this is just examples of how people flow consciousness of other people.
Yeah, this is
around,
the troll
Like
strategy.
you're discussing, Connor. You're discussing, like, when people, like, infect one another with their viruses, right? And like you get that, like, when someone, like, does something that, like, you take offense to, and you, like, you, like, get that in your head, like, you've been in, but it's hard. But I mean, you can't just shape that a lot of times, though. You can at a certain age or with a certain amount of meditation. But, like, like, if you are, like, around someone who does something that like it's very hard to like shake. You know, it's very hard to like discard.
Mm-hmm. And the same theory
Right,
can
absolutely.
be used in a positive way, and then it becomes inspiration rather than trolling.
Totally. Like when you're around your friends or like inspiring people, you know, like you can often like think of them or like think about how they would handle a certain situation or what, you know, or what they might say if you were in a challenging situation, or if you were thinking creatively, you know, you could be inspired by things that people around you have said or done or that you've seen. And so, yeah, like art serves that way too. Like, you know, like theater or art is like downloading, you know, good stuff into a person.
Okay, Johan has a response to this Gnosticism thing, Connor.
Oh, sorry, not you.
Johan says that the Long Sun Whirl is explicitly a Gnostic framing of reality, but the story is about the rehabilitation of the fallen principalities by the greater God. That, and then a character like
okay, I don't feel that's not Gnostic.
Okay, a character like Mucor is Gnostic in the way that the body and soul are separate, but this is done as a comedy. Like, look how weird this would be if it was actually the way it was, if body and soul were separate.
I feel like that is the case with all of the main characters, that body and soul are separate and fluid.
Well, she was fucked with because she was weird. And that's why she's so gross. She wasn't gross before.
And I feel that it's clear that what's gross about Mucor is that she's able to utilize and realize the thing that's true about everybody that nobody else can accept.
Is that we
like,
are
the
not...
thing that you think you are isn't the thing that you think that you are, and you live in other people's heads and they live in yours.
Totally.
I think...
Oh.
Go ahead.
But the like a god, an overall like god superseding the demiurge is Gnosticism, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Johan says Pos isn't an evil demiurge. He's a fallen principality on a spaceship that's basically a flying Tower of Babel, where all the peoples are split under different rulers from the fallen council of the Lord.
No, right, correct. Each and every to paraphrase Aleister Crowley, each and every person is an evil demiurge. Severian's an evil demiurge, Batira Silk's an evil demiurge, Horn is an evil demiurge. The narrator, whatever that narrator is, even if it's the one that's inside your skull, is the evil demiurge.
The narrator.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Represented by an extra syllable inside the word narrator.
That's just how I talk, buddy. You're going to have to deal with it.
Because we're all just like little pieces of the hologram, and that's why we would be the same thing.
Right.
Because we are the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, that's a like a Kabbalistic idea. Isn't Kabbalah precedes Gnosticism, doesn't it?
No. No, Kabbalah, for like, all right, documented Kabbalah doesn't really surface till the Middle Ages, but Gnosticism is all up in antiquity.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Call me out if I'm wrong. I understand.
No, I think you're right. I don't think we get like
We live on the internet
treatises
now.
on Kabbalah until the Middle Ages. I think they all
Right.
claiming to be older.
We can accept that, like,
than-
it was the first book ever written by the angel Raziel or whatever we want, but that like Noah had it, but we don't have documentation of that. Solid documentation. Sorry, Bible heads.
Bible heads are hitting those keyboards right now.
I wish we had like
I really
a
thought you said
hotline we could
bobblehead.
flash on the screen.
I was hoping it sounded like that. What?
I wish we had a hotline we could flash on the screen when it's like, just try to cancel me, and then like have a phone number that you can call to yell at Connor or like any of us.
Oh man, doing a call-in line like a 90s TV show or something.
A call-in line would would be great.
That would be so.
Oh
great.
man, I have an idea for a show where people just call in and they can yell at me about the Bible. You can be for, you can be against. Just yell at me about the Bible. I'll argue with you. Whatever you think about the Bible, I'll tell you you're wrong.
I'm gonna try to show you guys this thing that's happening.
I really want you to make that, Connor.
Ooh, it's
Who's
too
behind
dark.
you? That's your hand.
The cat blends in with the shadow.
I can't see anything.
This is Lynchian, Jen.
Yeah. Kitty, show us Kitty. I think I see ears behind you. Is that what's going on?
Oh, be kidding.
No, he's on the ground. He's just.
Oh, that's something else.
I saw two green eyes like in a cartoon
Oh,
stalking me.
Kitty man, we want to see you.
I feel like today we gotta talk about the Mayterra Marble, like little
Oh.
cutaway scene.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Oh, that's
That one's
really good.
Really cool.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
like getting back into the body, spirit, mind, identity. It's like a whole new avenue into all that stuff. Once Marble starts taking pieces of Rose.
Sorry, everybody.
That's one of. There's like a bunch of. It's funny because speaking of jarring changes, like I feel like this chapter and specifically that part with Auk and Skilla and Chenille is so different than New Sun in that it's explicit, that like something mysterious happens and it's immediately explained literally, which never really happens in New Sun, and it's been happening like kind of frequently in the last couple of chapters, and it's just like really pronounced when Auk is like, oh, you're Skilla. Oh, I thought you had extra arms. That's because you're Skilla. Like stuff that would be like a little hint is now picked up on by characters within the story immediately. And so there's like an element of like Wolfe being less mysterious, but he's still being so surprising in like the concrete things that happen, like Marble suddenly taking apart Rose. It comes out of nowhere and it's incredibly exciting and shocking.
I also got to say, and maybe this was my situation the first time I was reading this, it happened so fast that I had no idea what the hell he was talking about during these things. And I was already so prepared to just like loosen my mind and let it flow through me and figure it out next time, that like that stuff went by and I was like, I don't know what that is. And later on when they referred back to it, I was like, I don't know when that happened. And it was upon second reading that I was like, oh, this is where it happens. I understand this now.
I feel like there's two interesting things about it. At least there's a bunch, but of the two, I feel like what's interesting is when she's going up the staircase, right, and she starts to fade away a little bit. And then the second thing I think is interesting is the speed and with like the how natural, she is to dismantle Rose. Like, I think like it's interesting from like a character standpoint or just like a world building standpoint, that immediately when she sees it, she starts, scrounging for parts.
Well, she doesn't see a person. The person's not there. She sees a pile of like salvageable scrap. There's no person in it anymore.
Yeah.
It could be imagined this isn't the first time she's done this.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wait,
Also, but the
Is it-
person is still in there because then she gets Rose's consciousness.
and isn't there, perhaps I'm misremembering, who's Molly Denham?
Molybdenum is the person who used to be Hammerstone's girlfriend or whatever, and then Marble lies and says that she was molybdenum, I think, or she might have some of her parts.
Yeah.
I think it's the first.
I always was under the impression that Marble has taken parts from Molly Denham previously.
Yeah.
And that's why
she does,
she's also kind of Molly Denham.
but she does believe that she's lying about it because she confesses to lying about it. So she may have taken
Right, but
some
I don't
parts.
think that she is.
Right. But I think this is kind of flying a little bit against what we were just saying, where body and mind are separate. They're clearly not separate. I think that the characters think they're separate, but that they're clearly not if a piece of a person goes in you physically and a piece of their mind is there too.
Well, and this is where the Molly Dunham question comes into play, where like Marble took parts of Molly Dunham so long ago that the parts of Molly Dunham that would be this separate entity that sometimes has other memories has fully become just Marble. Like she owns that part now. She
So,
accepts
like,
it as her.
I think it's similar to when a god possesses you and then leaves a part of themselves and takes a part of you. It's like consciousness can be split apart and broken up and put into different things and smushed together and to become a new person. So it's like, does it really say either one or the other? This like view of identity, does it say we're attached or not attached to our bodies? And like, because okay, if we are like truly attached, it's like somewhere in the middle. It's like a Venn diagram. Because if we were truly attached to our bodies, then like nothing, I would think that like you couldn't cut off my hand and then my hand could exist separately and I could, and of its own accord. So like
Zadkiel can do that.
Zadkiel can do that. However, if you eat my hand, then I'll live in your brain. I don't know.
I mean, the thing about consciousness, and I think that Severian's experience points at this, is that like your drop of consciousness is just a drop of consciousness that has come from and will very soon return to the vast sea of consciousness, which is the only one actual thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like the original sin is that you think you exist. You don't exist. God exists and is you right now.
Yes.
And also, I think that the flesh and the spirit have a lurking variable. They both have a root that goes back. So a piece of flesh relates to the root. The physical form relates to the root. The spirit also relates to the root. Like they're not the end of the chain.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah. What do you mean by chain?
I mean, like the things that happen in the material world are expressions of invisible things, and so a piece of flesh doesn't just show up on Earth and then get a random spirit assigned to it. It's a manifestation of something invisible of which that spirit is a part.
Sure, and vice versa. Like spirits come about because that's a thing.
It's funny to say, but with the Y's on. Go on.
Well, okay.
I'm sorry.
I think that's a regional thing. Regional. Anyways, vice versa. The material world is what generates those spirit, like Ubik kind of stuff. That God doesn't exist yet. God exists at the end of time when the universe is done, and the universe is created by God reaching back through time to the beginning to start things so that God can exist. Original sin is part of God's plan. It's necessary because God is agape. It's the love that brings everything back together. You can't bring everything back together if it didn't all come apart. So the sin of thinking that we exist is necessary because God is all of us coming back together to be God again. And if God just is, then God isn't, because God is a verb of coming together. I think John Lennon said that.
Mick Jagger.
Oh.
I just wanted to, out of curiosity, see what this said about Molly Denham.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's, he's he's better in this one about kind of like being explicit about when he's like theorizing about something.
Mm-hmm.
But I like I like his theory better than the thing you just put out, Connor.
Okay.
That he says Hammerstone's lost sweetheart, a housemaid whose full name was Molly Denham. Oh, because it's under Molly. Possibly the ultimate origin of the prosthetic parts used by Rose, later incorporated. That
That's
makes
cool.
more sense to me. A lot more sense to me that it would be kind of like someone that Marvel didn't get her parts. She got them like third hand after. That's like where the original parts came from that Rose was incorporated.
And
To
now
me,
they're all
that
part of a
makes-
blockchain.
Yeah.
That's a really
To me,
neat.
that makes
That's good. I like that.
That's a cool story
sense.
about love too, where like Molly Denham thinks that she's impersonating someone she doesn't know in order to be in love with Hammerstone, but she really is the person that she's impersonating. It's
Yeah.
just she didn't, like through other people's experiences, she's made that person. I don't know, something about that seems
Well,
like
and that-
really appropriate for a love story.
That's the Wolfian trick, right? Is like anytime somebody feels like they're telling a lie in a wolf story, it's just that they don't know that that's what's actually happening.
Yeah.
All lies are secretly true.
And I feel like that fits a lot with what I feel like is Wolfe's idea about fiction, is that it's all as true as things that are nonfiction because it's here and it exists and it affects people. And so your lies are kind of are little fictions that exist and that affect people and that have their own truth.
The only lie that can be told is the lie to yourself that you're lying. Because I mean, like this matches up with what we were just saying about identity and talking trash. That like a lie that's told is a lie that has some truth in your skull. You know, enough truth to have come up with the lie at least. Ontology.
Okay, so Johan said some stuff. He's talking about how the Eucharist becomes a big deal in Short Sun, and that's what more about why it's not Gnostic. And that possession in this book is a prefiguration of the Eucharist. That becomes more evident in Short Sun. That's
I think that the possession stuff is very Gnostic.
and then also said that I don't think Wolfe perceives a tension between fiction and reality. And I see this as connecting to there not being a tension between body and soul. And I feel like I was saying that ineloquently, that there's no opposition between fiction and reality, that fiction is a part of reality, and that it has consequences, and it has, it's as tangible as anything else we believe.
But he was saying that as a thing against this being a Gnostic work.
No, I think I was going back to some older stuff that he said when we were still talking about the Gnostic thing, and then he was commenting on the more recent stuff, and I just slapped them together because I don't take the moderation of this very seriously, I guess.
Hey, I don't think that you should. I think that it would be ruined if you did.
I do too. I do like.
I mean, essentially, this is a clown show that we're running.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't be if it wasn't.
I mean, and talk about telling the truth. That's really the only people can.
I sometimes don't tell the truth.
Doesn't mean you can't.
No, I can tell the truth. Sometimes when I lie, that's the truth.
I was looking at.
Fuck! I'm in a Jim Wolfe story.
I was looking at Peter Gabriel lyrics today, and
It's a good idea.
yeah, they're so apropos at this moment in history. There's that song, "That Voice Again," which is all about a voice in your head that is like judging everything, and there's a line in that song that's like, I see so clearly where what's right and wrong. There must be more than this. I feel like that is a a Wolfian value.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see right and wrong, you're like at the surface, the very surface of anything. Oh, Johann's called me the unreliable avatar of the chat room. I'm kind of like a Severian that has all those little voices of the people that I kind of know that I drank in the Emperor thing, and sometimes I acknowledge they're there, sometimes I claim their ideas as my own. I should probably just invent extra people for the chat room and start deploying agendas of my own and wrapping them entirely in fictional participators of this, whatever this is.
It's like a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do that, good on you.
Well,
I like Jen.
Snowflake Crusher 92 is selling us something.
What's Snowflake Crusher saying?
He's talking about ergogores and how the recent canceling of Horatio Sands, I think, is proof that we've got an ergogore issue and that there's no personal responsibility for the canceling of people that actually matters.
I talk a lot about ergogore issues in my work. I'll agree with that, though. I didn't know about the canceling of Horatio Sands. Did people not like his appearance in the first episode of The Mandalorian?
No,
They didn't like him fingering a 16-year-old.
Ooh, that is not good.
It's a really interesting
Good.
story, though. It's really great because I feel like it's made.
It's an interesting story.
It really is. I mean, no, the whole thing, the story, not just the fingering part, but the entire thing, where he's been outed now for this that happened years and years ago, and there's like this part of the story where he went to the Pentagon or something and told them, like, you could Me Too me, and that was horrible what I did, and I've changed a lot, and things were really messed up for me back then, and like, you have the right to do this, but I just want you to know that like I really feel crazy and bad about that. And then, I mean, I don't think he was in The Mandalorian. Has he been in anything else recently? It's like he doesn't even have a career to destroy, as far as I can tell. And
he's going to continue to be in The Mandalorian, potentially.
okay, but to me, I think that what this really proves is that it's not people that cause cancellation; it's celebrity itself. Is that it's
Yeah, definitely.
like celebrity, the force is the thing that causes it, and it makes no sense to tell people to stop doing it because individuals aren't doing it. It's the truth is that like if someone is kind of famous and you have a story about them, it is nearly impossible not to tell that story. It's like it's like incredible act of discipline to not tell a story about a famous person, even if it's like from years ago, even if it's kind of irrelevant, even if they're not that famous. There's a thing about celebrity that makes that information spread.
If you are a celebrity, at some point, you will stop being a celebrity. This is how that happens. It might happen after you're dead. It might happen when you're alive. But this is how that happens.
Wait a second. Some people
You are
stop.
going to get canceled. Huh?
Some people stop just because they don't get like condemned. They just become irrelevant.
Sure, okay.
Anyway,
I think that if you become a celebrity, you should expect to be canceled at this point. Otherwise, you're going to be left holding the bag when you're canceled. You don't have control over it. You know, like, let's put it another way. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Everybody's done. And if you're a celebrity, people are going to talk about it and point it out. If you're not a celebrity, nobody's going to know when you fuck up.
yeah.
Or the less of a celebrity you are, the less people who know you, the less people will know when you fuck up. But you're going to fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know. Yeah, so celebrity is its own god. I mean, it is a god. It's like a force that walks among us, and it has consequences that people cannot resist. And so it's really funny when you have people that complain about like overexposure or intrusion of privacy or something, as if there was ever a conception of celebrity that was only positive. But I guess that's just the outgrowth of the American idea that life's default is happiness, and it's only something from outside that messes it up that would cause that to go off track.
I think that we should be actively trying to end celebrity.
Wait, say that again?
What did I think that we should be actively trying to end celebrity.
Or yeah, it might end itself, huh?
I don't know, but like, I think that if you start finding yourself becoming a celebrity, you should be concerned.
Oh, definitely. Right now, that is the
Celebrity is an alien entity that is taking you over as a host. We should make we're due for an invasion of the body snatchers, and this time it should be about celebrity.
Cool.
It would be cool to figure out I feel like there's a Philip K. Dick book in the idea of a group that helps people escape celebrity. That, like, it's starting to happen to you. This is a group that will help you get out of it safely and disappear. Have your fame perhaps even forgotten, and then forgotten that you ever were a little famous. Oh, Johan said, exceptionalism is good in America, and it wasn't really a good thing in many other cultures.
Exceptionalism is... Oh, I see what he's saying. He's not saying that he supports exceptionalism in America. It's that America considers exceptionalism
Considered good by our culture.
Yeah, which is funny.
Sorry, my reactionary self got all prepared to have my hackles raised. I was going to start talking about how much you suck and whatnot, but like, that was my...
The kittens do it all the time. It's like something happens and they poof up.
Yeah.
They poof. They get a little freaked out and they poof real hard.
Oh,
It's like a pipe cleaner.
little
Yep,
guys.
that's what I did, but it was unnecessary. The only person who was wrong was me.
Dan Higgs has a really funny story about being at, I feel like it was like Ian Mackay's wedding or something.
Oh God.
And Al Gore was there for some reason.
Whoa.
Maybe
Fugazi.
because of like the bride's family or something. I can't remember why. But he said he like
It sounds like the
made
holodeck.
eye contact with him. It was like Al Gore with his like, you know, entourage or whatever, his like bodyguards and stuff. And he said he like made eye contact with him by accident across the room. And he said he just like expanded. He just like, and I was like, oh, he pooped at you. he basically expanded in size until he couldn't look at you. It was like a silent intimidation, but I was like, oh, he pooped at you like a cat.
I mean, that means that Al Gore was
Like,
afraid of Dan
he
Higgs.
was like-
I mean, Dan Higgs is kind of terrifying looking. I don't.
That's true.
I was like, oh my god, he pooped, and he was like, that's a weird story. I heard.
That's very cute.
Poor Al Gore. He's so afraid all the time. He's afraid of the environment. He's afraid of Dan Higgs. His wife is afraid of Frank Zappa.
I don't think Higgs is terrifying.
Scared Al Gore.
Like if you weren't the kind of person who saw Dan Higgs and was like, oh, that's Dan Higgs, then you'd be like, here's a heavily tattooed beardo who's staring at me from across the room. Like, what's going on?
When I first saw
but
Dan
you're
Higgs,
at
I
Ian
assumed he was
Mackay's
part of the
wedding,
Russian
like-
mob that's running Baltimore.
That's
When you're at
amazing.
Ian Mackay's wedding, you think he was the weirdest looking guy there.
That is a
point.
very good point.
DC guys
And
don't
I
look
mean,
weird.
when you-
That's true. The DC punk guys are not a notably weird looking subculture.
That's true. They're pretty fucking square.
They're very suburban. So.
And
Yeah, whatever
it's that,
DC.
Dude's over the tattoos.
it's that place. Like, that place clearly has the energy, and it's the same with Boston. Like, there's this weird, like, colonial American energy that destroys weirdness, even in people who are, like, countercultural for the area. It's in the ground, clearly.
Does Philadelphia do it?
Oh, well... well,
I
also,
only ask because it has a colonial feel to it. I know a couple of fairly weird people in Philadelphia.
Well,
but
whose place was Philadelphia? Ben Franklin. That dude was just weird.
very fucking true. Very
so
fucking
true.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I mean that's why the best like Discord bands were from Maryland,
Hey,
like Void and Lungfish.
Oh, I thought Lungfish was the only one, the only non-DC one.
Void's from like Bethesda or something.
Well, Bethesda's like included in DC. Bethesda.
But I mean that like whatever. Maryland should claim Void is what I'm saying because Void rules.
Where's Dag Nasty from? Oh, they're from DC.
Yeah.
That was the lore that I understood was that Lungfish was the one like non-DC.
Oh, definitely.
I
I
think
think
Yeah.
they're the one
Still
Baltimore.
DC. That's like saying like, oh, they're not from Baltimore. They're from Towson.
Right.
I
I don't
mean-
know. I mean, I don't know that
Make
Bethesda is
the
correct.
argument.
I think they're from outside the Beltway. Is the point with Void? They were like one of the first like
What?
outside the Beltway bands.
ever.
I guess they probably don't look
Anyway.
that weird.
I feel like it's the people that that I know that lived in like Bethesda or like Glenmont or like kind of weird in between zone. They had a choice, and they either moved to DC and worked for like the DC City Paper or some institution like that, or they didn't. And if they didn't, they're Maryland. And if they moved to DC, they lost their Maryland. And it was,
I'm
you
just
know,
saying, Bethesda is not like Laurel. Like Bethesda's not like in between. Bethesda's like fucking DC.
it's
Like,
a bedroom community for DC people to work.
It's DC. Bethesda is a part of DC, like the DC Metro. It's not like it doesn't have any independence from DC in the way that like Columbia. or
Sorry,
Laurel-
actually, Void is from Columbia.
Columbia. A planned community, planned by Tommy Rouse's ancestors, right?
That's right.
Really?
Yeah, which means that we can say it's planned by Tommy Rouse.
Yeah.
Tommy's grandpa, James Rouse Sr.
Who loved the Lord of the Rings.
It'd be interesting to think about Bethesda, the video game company, as being infected with that DC energy. I don't really, I guess, know enough about video games to contrast with Bethesda, like who their most immediate peers are. But they're like,
Well, they make more
Skyrim.
Baltimore reference, I think, than
do.
they do DC references.
yeah. It does feel like they're more
Is
entertained
that the
by
company
Baltimore.
Skyrim?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, Fallout.
Well, that makes
now.
sense because everyone in Skyrim basically just says the same thing over and over again. It seems like they're like just have talking points, like "Welcome to my store. It's good to see you again."
I
Yeah,
wish
but
I
they
had
have a
$1
city-
for every time someone in Baltimore said "Welcome to my store" or "It's good to see you again." Like
I always,
man,
whenever
so
somebody comes
Baltimore.
into a store that I'm working at, I immediately say, "Buy something, will ya?"
I would say some people call it trash. I call it treasure.
Interesting. You said the exact same thing with that same inflection last week when I came in.
I've also been to 5 other stores where the proprietor greeted me that way.
Buy something, will ya?
No,
Oh,
no.
I
Some people
understand.
call
You're making a video
call
game
it trash. I call it treasures.
Man, that was the weirdest. I guess that maybe it is like an actual aesthetic choice that Bethesda makes with the Skyrim games, in that like they clearly have enough money to hire like 40 voice actors, but they hire 6, and they just
Yeah.
make.
Yeah.
Maybe that has something to do with the DC energy of just like people. I mean, they're all basically the same.
Well, Sarah thinks that Skyrim is all inside of the head of someone who is like passed out in a hospital and like on life support, and that like the medical professionals are around them saying things, but they've like the protagonist has invented Skyrim inside of their head. I guess it could be cryogenic too, but like that's why everyone ends up sounding the same, is because you're just listening to the people around you.
Like
Nice.
Saint Elsewhere, that old TV show where
Yeah.
like they just at the very end of the series were like, and it was all in a retarded boy's head, by the way.
I mean, that's Super Mario Brothers 2 as well, in America anyhow.
right.
Doki Doki Panic in Japan.
Correct.
That's right.
I know that much about video games.
It's a video game fact.
It's a video game.
Yes.
One day we'll all be a video game.
Is anything
You
else
don't know
happened
that
in
we're not a
chapter
video
11?
game right now?
I mean, I'm writing about that right now. I don't know it, but I have many things to say on the topic.
Did any of
They
you
should
read?
make a game inside the Super Mario 2 universe again. That would be sick.
That was the best one.
That
It
game
was
world.
the best one.
It's cute.
Hard.
It's so
This
cute.
was hard
Yeah,
to play.
it's so hard and jarring after the
Which-
first one.
Which person
Wasn't
did you
it
play?
made? So it was made by a different company. It was just bought, and they stuck the Mario character.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
reskinned basically. There's another. It's the original Mario 2 only exists in Japan, or I guess now it's
Wait.
like the Lost Level.
Yeah, Lost Levels.
And it's like it's just they thought it was going to be too hard for American audiences,
So
so
hard.
they just rebranded a different game.
And it has that the first transvestite video game character,
Yeah.
Birdo.
Birdo, right?
And it had the best cartoon adaptation.
And it's all about subcon. It's got a weird, kind of a Jungian vibe to it.
Yeah.
So it's about theater too, right? Everything's
Oh
It's
yeah,
artificial.
yeah. There's like a theater curtains that come up on each level, which appear to be decoration.
Because that's definitely true in 3. Because
Oh,
3
that's-
actually
okay, yeah,
begins with
that's
it.
three,
The one with
Curtain
where
the-
like all of the different things are like clearly like bolted onto the background, and like
Oh yeah, that's great.
everything is fake for some reason.
It's a video game.
2
It's
is
all
the one where
Controls
you
were a
like
pain in the
pull
ass,
up.
though.
2 is the one where you like pull up radishes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
And,
go
and,
into,
and
like-
you don't have to
go
be
into the
the
little
Mario
base.
Brothers. You can be other characters.
You go
Right.
into the little vase, and then there's
Yeah.
like a mask that follows you around.
Yeah,
Shy
you gotta
Guy.
carry around a key over your head.
See, when you
Like,
guys talk about all the time when you guys talk about video games, I have no idea what you're talking about until you go to NES, and then I know it.
more or less. Well, I had Skyrim,
you were
and then
just talking about one. That's
I know, but-
Skyrim is like if you have played one video game in the last 15 years, it's Skyrim. Like
Oh.
that's
Yeah, Skyrim is a game people who don't play video games play.
Madison
was made in
loves
Maryland.
Skyrim.
Oh, I will say though, at the beach with my family last month,
I played Skyrim.
did play some Nintendo with my nieces.
Nintendo Switch.
But it was like, yeah, it was like Mario 3D World and like Mario Kart. It wasn't anything too
Fun games.
Oh, I feel like it would be remiss.
harder than I remember.
We might never talk about Super Mario 2 again, so I want to point out that when you pull up the radishes, it's in like the waking world, and then when you go to the dream world with a potion, you like get a potion and you can go to a dream within a dream, and then when you pull up the radishes, they're coins.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like just explicitly
It's cool.
alchemical.
Mario 2 is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
dark.
a cool game. Cool aesthetics. It definitely has like a dreamy feel to it. It's definitely really atmospheric.
The music is good too.
Yeah, good game.
Oh, and then isn't the final guy is a toad, right? A hallucinogenic animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Dionysian animal. Toad.
Hecate also
Is where
is
they go.
It gives me
identified with toads. Yeah.
PTSD to think about fucking Luigi's feet like running after him. Like, dude, stop going towards that cliff. Fucking turn around, Luigi. Ah.
Luigi, you son of a bitch.
I mean that was the first personality injection into Luigi, and which has been like a runaway train ever since. Like Luigi is identical to Mario in Mario 1. He's just green, yeah. And then in 2 we got those feet and that weird extra jump, and it kind of makes him a little bit of a ninny, like you're saying. He's like harder to control. And then from there on out, Luigi has gotten to have all the personality that Mario is not allowed to have.
Luigi is harder for you to control because he's smarter than Mario.
Guys,
Uh-oh.
it's 1 o'clock.
Mom,
I
I'm
was
doing book club.
I was gonna ask if you guys. Well, I'm pretty hungry, but I was gonna ask if you guys wanted to agree to start next week on the weird marbles.
Yes.
Oh, did we?
That, or else we can hit it now and then start after the.
I'm okay with that, but also, did we jump Crane, the whole Crane interview, or is that after the Marvel?
No, that's
after.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is chapter 11 is a bunch of
like
good
what we
discrete
have
things.
so far is like the Incus thing, and then the Chenille thing, and then we go into the Marvel.
Sweet.
And I think Chenille Scylla thing, and I think we did that. So I think we're.
We see not to bring up a point, but just real quick, like one interesting thing to think about is like the next time we see Silk after he's in the, in the bubble looking at the world from the outside. The next time we see him, he's knocked out. But that's we didn't see the scene in between.
Yeah.
That's kind of New Sun-ish.
Yeah.
That happens a lot in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that also happens when they escape from the submarine. It's like he
Mm-hmm.
leaves out these like, but it's Horn, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody told him what
I
happened.
don't know what the fuck. Horn's like, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this because it's like at the very end, but. So they go to mainframe, but then the next scene is like, wow, mainframe was crazy.
I thought
that stuff.
Remember when we went to mainframe and it fixed all of our problems? I'm happy the story's done.
That happens a lot in these books.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite part when it happens, though. That's like the best piece of it.
They're like, damn, how about that mainframe?
We were all there, so we don't have to describe it to each
We
other.
don't have to talk about it.
It's kind of neat how also like Silk's world view is like rattled, and then the next there's a loss of time, and then when we get back to him, there's like interspersing of dreams and memories that are out of time and stuff, and I feel like it's a nice after effects of having seen space. Like his brain is totally scrambled.
Well, also, as someone who has spent some time unconscious, like this is what it feels like. When you get knocked unconscious, it's not like I remember everything clearly up until I got hit in the head. You forget what happened before you don't know how you got hit in the head. So like this is medically accurate in getting your brain scrambled.
Ooh.
It comes up at some point in Short Sun too, the mainframe part where someone is just like asking Horn about like what happened to Silk, about Silk like becoming a part of Paz or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't know what happened. He left and then he came back. I don't know. He just like just real weird about it. Someone's like interrogating him about it, about his book, about this book, about his book. And he's just like, I don't know. He left and then he came back and I don't know what happened. Because the guy, whoever, I don't remember what in the context of the conversation, but the person he was talking to was like, yeah, and then Silk like became part of Paz, right? And he's like, I don't know.
Yep. Did you write the fucking book? Why don't you tell me not how to do my job? Get out of here. You want to tell a story? Write your own goddamn book.
Anyway.
So, next.
So I guess we'll agree. We'll agree to come back to the marble part.
And we'll know.
Agree to disagree.
The marble part.
We'll know for sure. Chapter 11.
It's a master number.
Yeah.
Possibly 12.
Yeah, we'll get a little. We'll try to sneak some 12 in there too.
For action.
Okie doke. Well, I am also hungry, so let's scatter.
Cool.
Great. When are we meeting?
2 weeks?
2 weeks?
The 5th?
Yeah, right?
Sure.
Why not? Anyone object?
Why not?
No objections?
No objection.
September 5th.
Alrighty.
Goodbye.
Okay, that's it.
Thanks for talking to me.